This is the Buffett Mindset channel where we practice patience and calm wealth building daily. If you enjoy these types of videos, consider liking and subscribing. This will mean a lot to the channel. What if I told you that in just 30 days, you could become unrecognizable to your current self? Not in theory, in reality. Not in some far-off dream, but in a month worth of steady, deliberate steps. 30 days. That's all it takes to start a chain reaction that can change the whole course of a man's life. Folks look at Warren Buffett and see a mountain, a legend, a man with billions stacked up like hay bales in the summer sun. But here, the truth most miss, Warren didn't build that mountain in one day, 1 year, or even 1 decade. He built it with habits, repeated daily, like a rancher feeding cattle every dawn without fail. For 30 days, you can live different, and if you do, you'll never go back to the man you were before. See, most people think transformation is a grand gesture, a lightning strike, a lottery win, a stroke of luck. They wait on chance like a thirsty man waiting on rain in the desert. But Warren Buffett never relied on chance. He relied on compounding habits, small disciplines, stacked day on day until fortune couldn't ignore him no more. So here's the challenge. For the next 30 days, I want you to take 3 small, steady actions. They'll seem simple. They'll seem almost too simple. But mark my words, partner, they'll separate you from 99 out of 100 folks who can't stick with anything longer than a week. The first action. Read daily. Now don't go picking up just any old book that'll clutter your head with noise. Choose books that feed your mind with principles, with timeless truths, with stories of men who conquered fear and built legacies. Warren read 500 pages a day at times, not because he was hungry for entertainment, but because he knew knowledge compounds like money in the bank. For 30 days, give yourself at least 1 solid hour of reading daily. No excuses, rain or shine. The second action. Save and invest deliberately. I ain't talking about pinching pennies until your knuckles turn white. I'm talking about honoring your future self by paying him first. Every dollar you earn, set a portion aside. Don't spend it. Don't waste it. Treat it like seed corn, something you don't eat, but you plant. In 30 days, you won't be rich, but you'll be rich in discipline, and that's the soil money grows from. The third action. Practice patience and stillness. This may sound strange in a world that worships noise and speed, but the richest returns come to those who can sit calm while the herd panics. Buffett's fortune wasn't built by running wild. It was built by waiting, by thinking, by sitting when others were stampeding. For 30 days, carve out time daily to sit in silence, reflect, and write down what you truly believe in. Train your mind to stay steady when others tremble. Now let me tell you why 30 days matter. It ain't just about a month worth of effort. It's about rewiring the man inside you. When you repeat something daily for 30 days, your brain stops fighting it and starts accepting it. It shifts from effort to identity. You stop saying, I'm trying to save money, and you start saying, I'm a man who saves money. You stop saying, I'm trying to learn, and you start saying, I'm a reader. Identity locks in, and when identity locks in, change becomes permanent. Picture yourself 30 days from now. You've read 30 hours of timeless wisdom. You've saved and invested a piece of your earnings, honoring your future self. You've sat in silence, letting your thoughts settle like dust after a storm, finding clarity while others are lost in noise. You're not the same man. You walk different. You talk different. You think different. And here's the secret. Once you see that difference, you'll crave more. You'll go for 60 days, 90 days, a year. And before you know it, you'll be unrecognizable to the man who once wasted days, dollars, and discipline. Buffett didn't become Buffett because he was smarter than everyone. He became Buffett because he was consistent longer than everyone. So, the next 30 days, live them with purpose. Live them with discipline. Live them with faith in the compound effect. And when fear rises, because it will, remember, you ain't walking this road for applause. You ain't walking this road for quick wins. You're walking it for freedom, for ownership, for a life where you call the shots instead of working until you die. For 30 days, be different. For 30 days, act as if your future self is watching you, because he is. For 30 days, build habits that no man can take away. Now let's get down to brass tacks. Because if you're fixing to change your life in 30 days, you can't just play around with surface level habits. You got to go deeper. You got to work on the soil before you ever expect a harvest. Warren Buffett always said that the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken, and that the truth most men never face until it's too late. You look around and you see folks chained up by debt, chained up by fear, chained up by bad habits they thought were harmless. Chains that started thin as thread but turned into iron. But the same law cuts the other way. Good habits start light too. They don't look like much in the beginning. One book, one saved dollar. One quiet sit by the fire where you wrestle with your own thoughts. But keep at it for 30 days, and those habits start hardening. They start working for you instead of against you. Before long, they turn into armor instead of chains. So here's the deal. If you want the next 30 days to matter, you need to pick the right soil. You need to choose what kind of man you're going to be. And you start by changing what goes into your mind. You've got to treat your mind like a rancher treats his land. You don't let weeds grow unchecked. You don't let poison seep in. You plant what you want to harvest. You water it, you guard it, you prune it. For Buffett, that meant spending most of his life reading, not trash, not gossip, not noise, but solid, weighty stuff that built his judgment. He guarded his mind like a man guarding a gold mine. So for the next 30 days, feed your mind deliberately. Take in the kind of words and ideas that build courage, discipline, and patience. You don't need 100 voices. You don't need the latest trend on the wind. You need the kind of wisdom that's been proven by time, tested by fire, and walked out by men who left legacies behind. But don't stop there. Guard your ears too. Most folks poison themselves every day by listening to fear, gossip, and nonsense. If you want to be unrecognizable in 30 days, cut the noise. Don't waste your attention on folks who don't walk the walk. Don't give your focus to folks who already quit on themselves. Protect your ears like a soldier protecting his flank. And then, they're the matter of time. For 30 days, I want you to track your hours like Buffett tracked his dollars. Every man's time is his true wealth, though most act like it pocket change. You can lose money and make it back, but once a day gone, it gone forever. So here's your challenge. Every night, sit down and write where your time went. No excuses, no sugarcoat. You spent an hour scrolling, write it. You wasted a half day on worrying, write it. By the end of 30 days, you'll see in black and white whether you've been a builder or a drifter. And while we're talking about drift, let me tell you something the devil loves: indecision. A man who can't decide is like a cow standing in the middle of the road. He don't move forward, don't move back, and sooner or later, he roadkill. Buffett's power was decisiveness. Not wild, not rash, but clear. He gathered facts, thought it through, and then he acted. And once he acted, he stuck with it. That's how fortunes are built. That's how legacies are written. So for 30 days, make decisions quickly and stick to M. Don't second-guess yourself into paralysis. Don't live your life waiting for permission. Decide and then build on that decision until it bears fruit. Now, some of you might say, but cowboy, what if I mess up? What if I pick wrong? Let me tell you something. You will mess up. You will pick wrong sometimes, but that's not the real danger. The real danger is doing nothing, sitting on your hands while life rides past you. Even a wrong step teaches you. Even a stumble moves you forward. But hesitation? That'll chain you to the same place you started, and 30 years will pass before you know it. Buffett didn't dodge mistakes. He made plenty, but he learned from them. He didn't repeat them, and he didn't let fear of failure keep him from acting. So here's the truth of this 30-day challenge. It ain't about perfection. It's about direction. It's about choosing the trail you'll ride on and stay in the course. Now imagine this. 30 days from now, you've been deliberate with your mind, your time, and your money. You've fed yourself wisdom instead of noise. You've tracked your hours like treasure. You've made decisions with clarity and stuck with them. Do you really think you'll be the same man you are today? Not a chance. Your friends might not notice right away, but you'll feel it. In your bones, in your breath, in the way you carry yourself. You'll look in the mirror and see a man who's starting to live with purpose. A man who's not drifting anymore. A man who's starting to look free. And when that happens, you'll be hooked. You'll know that 30 days ain't an end, it's a beginning. It's the spark that lights a fire you can tend for the rest of your life. So I'll tell you straight, if you can do it for 30 days, you can do it for 300. If you can do it for 300, you can do it for 3,000. That's how men like Buffett win, not with flashes, not with shortcuts, but with compounding habits that start small and end mighty. Now let's ride deeper into the trail. 30 days sounds fine in theory, but you're probably sitting there asking, what do I actually do each day? How do I walk it out step by step? Well, That where the road gets real clear, friend. I'm going to hand you a routine simple enough to follow, but strong enough to rewire the man inside you. Do this for 30 days straight and you'll be standing taller, thinking sharper, and living freer than you ever thought possible. Morning when the sun cracks the horizon, before you even check a device or wander into the noise of the world, take 15 minutes in stillness. Just you, the quiet and the sound of your own breath. Sit with a notebook. Write down 3 things. One thing you're grateful for. One thing you're building toward. One principle you'll carry through the day. That's how Buffett started his days. Not scrolling, not chasing distractions, but sitting and thinking. He said the biggest difference between successful folks and average folks is the amount of time they spend thinking. So carve your thoughts early, like a blacksmith hammering steel before the fire cools. Then, feed your mind. Spend 30-60 minutes reading something weighty. History, finance, biographies, principles. Let the words of men who built great things soak into your soul. One good page in the morning can shape your whole day. Don't just skim, digest. Read like a rancher walking his fence line, slow and steady, checking for holes. Noon, by the time midday rolls around, you're in the thick of it. The world pulling at you from all sides. Work, demands, worries, noise. That when you remind yourself you're not drifting, you're deliberate. Take 10 minutes to check your money. Not just the dollars in your hand, but the ones you've planted. Ask yourself, did I spend on things that weaken me, or did I plant seeds that'll feed me tomorrow? Even if you've only saved a few coins, write it down. Track it. A man who counts his herd every day doesn't lose cattle. A man who ignores them wakes up to an empty pasture. And when the world tempts you to panic, maybe the market's swinging, maybe folks around you are losing their heads, breathe. Remember Buffett lesson, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. In plain cowboy talk, don't follow the herd off a cliff. Sit steady, hold your ground. Even as the day winds down, you come back to the fire. This is where you settle accounts with yourself. Take 10 minutes with that same notebook. Write down where your time went, what decisions you made, what you'll carry into tomorrow. Don't lie to yourself. If you wasted 3 hours, write it. If you let fear steal your chance to act, write it. But also write the victories, no matter how small. The dollar you saved, the page you read, the silence you sat in. Then end your night with a mantra. Speak it aloud, even if your voice shakes. I am not a slave to fear. I am patient. I am deliberate. I am building wealth that will outlive me. Say it again, steady and slow, like a rider calm in the saddle. I am not a slave to fear. I am patient. I am deliberate. I am building wealth that will outlive me. Do this for 30 days, morning, noon, and night, and you'll carve new grooves in your soul. The man you are today will fade. The man you're meant to be will step forward. See, habits are like trails across the prairie. The more you ride them, the clearer they get. After 30 days, the weeds of the old trail are growing back, and the new trail is wide and firm. Your mind will go there by default. Your actions will follow. And here's the secret most folks never see. Once you've done it for 30 days, it's easier to keep riding than to stop. Momentum kicks in, the wagon rolling, and gravity on your side. That when change stops being effort, it becomes identity. So don't just hear these words and nod your head. Walk it out, day by day. Morning discipline, midday clarity, evening accountability. And in 30 days, you'll be unrecognizable. You'll look back and say, I thought I was changing habits, but what I really changed was who I am. That the Buffett mindset, that the cowboy creed. Slow, steady, deliberate, but unshakable once it's set. And if you can hold it for 30 days, you can hold it for life. Now I gotta warn you, friend, the next 30 days won't be all smooth riding under a clear sky. No, sir. If it were that easy, every man would be free, wealthy, and wise. The truth is, there are traps out here on the trail. And if you don't spot them early, they'll pull you back into the mud before you've even hit your stride. The first trap is fear. Fear a slick outlaw. It don't come riding at you guns blazing. No, it whispers in your ear. What if you fail? What if folks laugh? What if this don't work? Fear don't want you to move. It wants you sitting in the same saloon, telling the same old stories, watching your life tick away. Warren Buffett wasn't fearless because he never felt scared. He was fearless because he acted anyway. He knew fear was a liar, a phantom. He said risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. So when fear tried to hold him back, he went and learned. He armed himself with knowledge, and fear lost its teeth. So when fear shows up in your 30 days, don't wrestle with it, starve it. Feed your faith instead. Read, reflect, act. Let fear shrivel up like a weed in the desert sun. The second trap is excitement. Sounds strange, don't it? But excitement is dangerous as fear. At the start of a trail, you're fired up. You're ready to conquer the world. You tell everyone you know. You boast. You shout. You make promises you can't keep. But excitement burns fast. It a matchstick in the wind. Discipline outlasts excitement. Buffett didn't build Berkshire Hathaway by getting excited over every shiny opportunity. He built it by staying steady, plodding forward, buying when it was right, waiting when it wasn't. Excitement will tempt you to sprint. Discipline will remind you this is a marathon. So for these 30 days, don't live off excitement, live off commitment. Excitement fades by day 5. Commitment carries you to day 30 and beyond. The third trap is comparison. Lord, if there's one poison killing more folks' joy than any other, it's this one. You'll look around at day 10, see some other fella who looks like he already made it, and you'll feel small. You'll think, what the point? I'll never catch up. But you don't know his trail. You don't know his stumbles, his debts, his demons. Buffett never compared himself to the fast talkers or the Wall Street gamblers. He stayed in his own saddle. He knew the only man worth comparing to was the man he was yesterday. So don't measure yourself by another man's yardstick. Measure yourself by the trail you've already ridden. Did you do your reading? Did you save your share? Did you sit in silence, sharpen your mind, and stand by your word? Then you're ahead of the man you used to be. That's all that matters. The fourth trap is distraction. The world full of bright lights and noise, phones buzzing, news shouting, advertisers screaming for your dollars. If you let it, distraction will eat your whole 30 days before you even notice. You'll wake up, scroll through the hours, and wonder why nothing changed. Buffett was a master at saying no. He called it the secret of his success. He turned down good deals so he could wait for great ones. He ignored noise so he could focus on what mattered. For 30 days, I want you to practice that same no. Every time something shiny tries to pull you off course, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? If the answer no, cut it loose. The fifth trap is quitting early. This is the deadliest one of all. Most men quit right before the breakthrough. They plow 29 days and walk away before day 30 harvest. They give up when it hurts, not realizing the pain was proof they were almost there. I'll tell you plain, there will be days you want to quit. Days you'll say, this ain't working. I don't feel different. What the point? And that when you've got to grit your teeth, hold your ground, and ride one more day. Because it's the man who don't quit at the edge of the desert that finally finds the water. These traps are real, and they'll be waiting for you. Fear, excitement, comparison, distraction, quitting. But hear the good news. Every one of them loses to persistence. Every one of them shrinks when you keep showing up. So hear your weapon, your mantra for the road. I am not afraid. I am not driven by excitement. I compare myself only to who I was yesterday. I am not distracted by noise. I do not quit. Repeat it at dawn. Repeat it when the shadows grow long. Repeat it when fear knocks and when excuses whisper. Do that for 30 days, and these traps won't chain you. They'll make you stronger. Every time you resist, you forge steel in your soul, and 30 days later, you'll be unrecognizable, not because you never fell into traps, but because you climbed out stronger every single time. Buffett knew this truth. It ain't about never being tested. It's about passing the test by refusing to quit. So don't quit. Not today, not tomorrow, not on day 29 when you're tired and wondering if it's worth it. Don't quit, and you'll be one of the rare men who carry the Buffett mindset all the way into freedom. Picture this, partner. The 30 days are done. The rain's still falling, the fire's still crackling, but something in you has shifted. You don't walk like the man who started. You don't breathe like him either. Folks who know you can see it in your eyes, though they can't quite name it, that's the mark of transformation. On day 1, you were carrying doubts heavier than a sack of wet grain. Your back bent under the weight of what-ifs. But by day 30, you're standing taller, not because the weight disappeared, but because your legs grew strong enough to carry it. That's what happens when a man keeps his word to himself, he grows into it. Your voice has changed too. No more hesitating. No more trailing off into silence. You speak like a man who lived through storms and come out dry. There's a calm to it, a certainty. Buffett had that same sound. When he spoke, folks leaned in, not because he shouted, but because he didn't need to. That what you built in these 30 days, the quiet thunder of conviction. Your money habits, they don't look the same either. Maybe you started out spending every dollar like it was a hot coal burning a hole in your pocket. But now, you let them sit, let them work, let them grow. You've started seeing money not as something to burn, but as seeds to be planted. That Buffett way. That the way of men who ain't looking for tonight's thrill, but for tomorrow harvest. And here the real kicker. Your mind don't wander like it used to. You've trained it. 30 days of focus, of pushing distractions aside, of repeating your mantras, of choosing discipline over noise. It's like riding a wild horse that finally learned your reins. Now when you sit in silence, your mind works for you instead of against you. Ideas come clearer. Decisions come quicker. Fear fades faster. This is the identity shift I've been leading you toward. For 30 days, you weren't just doing little tasks, you were rewriting who you are. That's why it's so powerful. Most men try to change their results without changing themselves. But you worked on the root. You watered it daily, pulled the weeds, gave it light.
Now the fruit appearing, and it'll keep appearing long after these 30 days are gone.
Think about the average fella. He sets goals on January 1st, forgets them by January 15th, and by February he back to the same patterns. But you've proven something rare. You've proven you can hold the line. You can stand when it's easier to sit, work when it's easier to rest, believe when it's easier to doubt. That proof changes a man forever. Now, hear what comes next. This ain't just about 30 days. 30 days is the spark. What you do after is the fire. You've carved a new groove in your mind. You've built a new habit of belief, of action, of discipline. If you keep riding this trail, you won't just be different after 30 days, you'll be unrecognizable after a year. Buffett didn't get rich in a month. He got rich by building a way of living. He read every day, thought every day, chose wisely every day. His billions weren't built in bursts of excitement, but in decades of discipline. And now you've had a taste of that life. You've seen what happens when you act like everything works in your favor, when you refuse to quit, when you harness patience and faith. So don't stop here. Let this be the first 30 of the next 3,000. Every month, recommit. Every month, set a new frontier. At the end of a year, you'll be a man folks won't even recognize. At the end of a decade, you'll be the kind of man others tell stories about. The kind of man who left the herd, rode his own trail, and never looked back. And I'll tell you something true. Once you've tasted this kind of growth, there's no going back to the old ways. Mediocrity won't sit right on your shoulders anymore. You'll crave the fire, the clarity, the freedom. You'll hunger for the kind of peace only discipline can buy. That's how I know you won't quit, even after the 30 days. So here, the vision. A year from now, you're sitting by another fire, looking back on today. You smile because you remember this was the moment you chose, the moment you said no more excuses, no more fear. I ride this trail all the way. And you'll thank yourself for it, because the man you'll be then, richer, stronger, freer, will owe his life to the choice you made now. That the Buffett way, that the cowboy way, that the way of men who ain't satisfied with scraps, who won't be herded into the same pen as everyone else. 30 days, that all it took to start the transformation. The rest, well, the rest is yours to claim. So lean back, listen to the rain, let this truth sink in. You are no longer the man you were, you are the man you chose to become. And that choice, that quiet, stubborn choice, will echo through every day you've got left. For the next 30 days, I hold the line. For the next 30 days, I live with intention. For the next 30 days, I choose discipline over drift. I am not afraid of change. I am not afraid of growth. I am not afraid of who I will become. I walk steady. I walk daily. I walk with purpose. I do not waste. I do not quit. I do not bargain with fear. What I start, I finish. What I plant, I water. What I water, I harvest. Each day I read. Each day I learn. Each day I grow wiser. Each day I save. Each day I invest. Each day I grow richer. Every step compounds. Every choice compounds. Every act of courage compounds. I am not in a hurry. I am not restless. I am not desperate. I am patient. I am steady. I am relentless. 30 days of patience builds character. 30 days of discipline builds identity. 30 days of focus builds freedom. I am no longer the man who waits for luck. I am no longer the man who bends to fear. I am no longer the man who doubts his worth. I am the man who acts. I am the man who builds. I am the man who endures. For the next 30 days, I rise early. For the next 30 days, I stay steady. For the next 30 days, I move forward. Every sunrise, I recommit. Every sunset, I reflect. Every night, I know I grew stronger. I am the kind of man who finishes what he starts. I am the kind of man who honors his word. I am the kind of man who becomes unrecognizable in 30 days. Fear cannot stop me. Doubt cannot break me. Distractions cannot claim me. I am free from fear. I am free from doubt. I am free from drift. I own my time. I own my mind. I own my future. For the next 30 days, I sharpen my focus. For the next 30 days, I master my habits. For the next 30 days, I lead my life. I am not waiting for permission. I am not waiting for approval. I am not waiting for a sign. I already have what I need. I already know the path. I already walk it with courage.
Buffett way is patience. Buffett way is discipline. Buffett way is ownership. My way is patience. My way is discipline. My way is ownership. I do not chase. I do not gamble. I do not quit. I hold the course. I build what lasts. I compound daily. 30 days of this path will change me. 60 days will transform me. 90 days will make me unrecognizable. I am not afraid. I act without hesitation. Everything is working in my favor. I am stronger than fear. I am wiser than doubt. I am freer than drift. The rain reminds me every drop counts. The fire reminds me every spark matters. I remind myself every day compounds. For the next 30 days, I build myself. For the next 30 days, I invest in myself. For the next 30 days, I refuse to quit. I am no longer who I was. I am who I choose to become, and I choose freedom. I rise before the sun. The world is quiet. The air is still. This silence belongs to me. This moment is mine. I do not wake in fear. I do not wake in doubt. I do not wake in chains. I wake with freedom in my chest. I wake with purpose in my step. I wake with discipline in my hands. For 30 days, I hold this path. For 30 days, I keep this fire alive. For 30 days, I prove to myself that I am a man of decision. I see my future when I close my eyes. I see a life of freedom. I see a life of wealth. I see a life of peace. And every choice I make now carves that future into reality. I am not like the many who drift. I do not follow the herd. I do not chase what is shiny. I do not waste what is given. I am the few who build. I am the few who wait. I am the few who own. The rain falls steady. It does not rush. It does not beg for approval. Drop by drop, it shapes the land. And so do I. Day by day, I shape my destiny. Choice by choice, I build my freedom. Habit by habit, I create my wealth. I am patient. Patience is my edge. Patience is my weapon. Patience is my fortune. I do not fear time. I use time. I bend time to my will. Every day compounds. Every moment compounds. Every act of discipline compounds. Buffett built this way. Slow, steady, certain. Not as a gambler, not as a chaser, but as a builder of things that last, and I walk the same road. I am not afraid of 30 days. 30 days will not break me. 30 days will not tire me. 30 days will transform me. I eat with discipline. I speak with discipline. I think with discipline. I act with discipline. I am not afraid of what I will lose. I am not afraid of who will doubt me. I am not afraid of what I must leave behind. I am focused only on what I gain. I gain clarity. I gain freedom. I gain ownership of myself, and ownership is wealth. The fire burns slow. It does not roar to prove itself. It glows steady. It warms steady. It lasts, and so do I. Each day I add a log. Each day I tend the flame. Each day the fire grows stronger. This is my habit. This is my discipline. This is my path. I am not afraid. I act without hesitation. Everything is working in my favor. I am not the same as I was yesterday. I am stronger. I am clearer. I am freer. For 30 days, I will not stop. For 30 days, I will not quit. For 30 days, I will walk steady. And at the end, I will be unrecognizable. I will look back and see a man I no longer know. A man of fear, a man of doubt, a man of drift. That man is gone. That man has been burned away. That man has been replaced by discipline, focus, and freedom. I am the man I was meant to be. I am the man I chose to become. I am the man who owns his life. The rain reminds me patience. The fire reminds me discipline. My heart reminds me freedom. This is my way. This is my path. This is my mindset. The Buffett mindset. The free man mindset. My mindset. There's something most men never notice until it's too late. They think the years are long. They think the road stretches on forever. But the truth is simple and it's harsh. A man's life is shorter than he imagines. It don't matter if you live to 80 or 90. What matters is how much of that time you wasted belonging to someone else. The next 30 days will show you the truth about time, because when you start holding yourself accountable, every hour feels different. An hour wasted feels like a theft. An hour well used feels like gold. And let me tell you, the richest man is the one who owns his hours. Money without freedom ain't wealth. It's a different kind of prison. But when you start claiming your hours one by one, that's when you start claiming your life. That's why the daily habits matter so much. It ain't about numbers on a page. It ain't about how many push-ups you did, or how many pages you read, or how many dollars you saved. It's about the proof those habits carve into your soul. Proof that you are a man who runs his own life. Buffett once said the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. You know what that means? It means the little things matter more than you think. It means 30 days of discipline can change your destiny, not because the results come quick, but because the man you become in the process can't go back. You start reading a little each day, not skipping, not making excuses, and suddenly you're a man who values knowledge. You start saving a little each day, not spending for show, not wasting on noise, and suddenly you're a man who builds security. You start choosing courage each day, speaking when fear tells you to stay quiet, and suddenly you're a man who acts without hesitation. That the magic of 30 days, it not a program, it not a trick, it a transformation. Slow and steady, like a river carving through rock. Now, let's talk about something else most men don't see, the cost of drift. If you don't decide how to spend your 30 days, the world will decide for you. The bosses, the marketers, the distractions, they'll eat your hours alive. They'll leave you starving for freedom while they fatten themselves on your time. But when you take control, when you say, this is my plan, this is my purpose, this is my discipline, then the world don't stand a chance. You've taken back what they can't steal, your will. And with that will comes peace. Peace of knowing you're not wasting the one life you've got. Peace of knowing you're walking the road you chose, not the one chosen for you. Picture yourself at the end of the 30 days, not rich yet, not famous, not suddenly transformed into something beyond recognition, but clear, focused, steady, that worth more than gold. Because with that clarity, you can walk into any storm and come out stronger. And when you carry that clarity into your money, that when the true Buffett mindset takes root, you don't buy what you don't need. You don't chase what you don't understand. You don't sell just because the herd is panicking. You stand firm, you let your seeds grow, you trust your discipline. Most men ain't broke because they never had money. They're broke because they never had patience. They're broke because they never gave their investments, their habits, their lives the time to compound. But you're different. You're learning now. You're choosing now. And every day you choose, every day you stay the course, every day you refuse to drift, you're building a future that most men will never taste. So when the 30 days feel long, when the rain falls heavy, when the fire burns low, when the silence feels too much, remember what you're fighting for. Not for comfort, not for applause, not for the shallow approval of the herd. You're fighting for ownership. Ownership of your hours, ownership of your choices, ownership of your life. And when a man owns his life, he cannot be bought, he cannot be bent, he cannot be broken. That the man you're becoming day by day, choice by choice, habit by habit. That the man who'll ride free when others are still chained. That the man who'll stand tall when others bow. That the man who'll look back on these 30 days and say, that was the turning point. That was when I stopped drifting and started living. And partner, that a man worth fighting to become. What if I told you that the hardest part of this 30-day journey ain't the discipline itself, but facing who you've been up to this point? Because when you start living different, the mirror don't lie. It shows you all the excuses you've made. It shows you the time you traded for comfort. It shows you the man you were before the fire got lit inside you. And that can be a heavy sight. But hear the truth. It ain't meant to break you. It meant to free you. You don't have to carry yesterday's weight into tomorrow's saddlebag. You can set it down right here by this fire and ride on lighter. Now, 30 days ain't going to erase a lifetime of drift, but it will prove something mighty important, that you are not chained to your past. Every sunrise is a clean slate, every choice a step on a different trail. Most folks never believe that until they see it with their own two eyes. But when you stack those days together, one after the other, the change becomes too plain to ignore. Buffett once said he'd rather be certain of a good result than hopeful about a great one. That's what 30 days of discipline is, certainty. Not the flash of luck, not the lottery ticket, not the gamble at the table. Just the quiet, steady certainty that comes from stacking small wins until they tower higher than the tallest fear. Let me paint it plain. Day one, you'll feel the drag. Your mind will whisper what the point. Nothing changes overnight. Day 5, you'll notice the shift. It'll still be small, but your chest will feel just a bit stronger with pride. Day 10, the excuses that once hollered will turn into faint murmurs. You'll be too busy doing to listen. By day 20, you won't recognize the man who used to wait for permission. And by day 30, you won't be finished. No, you'll just be warmed up. Because what was once heavy will feel natural, and what felt impossible will be your new standard. That's the beauty of compounding. Not just money, but habits, decisions, confidence. Compounding is the law of the universe writ across everything. Plant a tree and in a year you've got a sapling. Plant a habit and in 30 days you've got roots digging deep. Let time do its work and both grow into giants. But here's the catch. Most men don't last long enough to see compounding work. They yank the seed from the soil the moment it don't sprout fast enough. They abandon the trail the moment it gets steep. They give up right before the reward arrives. That's why your 30 days matter so much, because every single day you stick it out, You're proving to yourself that you ain't like the rest. You don't quit at the first sign of hardship. You don't fold just because the climb takes longer than you'd like. You've chosen to finish what you started, and that choice separates you from 99 out of 100 men. And let me tell you, that choice is power. Not the kind of power you flash for show, not the kind of power that fades with applause, but the quiet kind, the kind that turns a man into steel on the inside. That's the kind of power that builds fortunes, commands respect, and sleeps peaceful at night. You see, 30 days ain't about creating miracles, it's about creating momentum. And momentum is the most dangerous force a man can hold, because once it rolling, it don't stop easy. It keeps pushing, keeps carrying, keeps building, until what seemed impossible yesterday is your new floor today. That's how Buffett built his empire, not in one strike, but in steady motion, compounding decade after decade. And if you listen close, you'll hear him say that wealth ain't really about the money, it's about independence. It's about not having to dance for every dollar. It's about refusing to live like a slave to bills, to bosses, to noise. And here's the truth most men won't swallow: if you don't take charge of your life now, you'll be renting your time to someone else until your last breath. But if you build the habit of ownership today, owning your mornings, your choices, your focus, then you'll be owning your future tomorrow. So when the night gets long and the rain outside makes you wonder if it's worth it, remind yourself what's really at stake. It ain't just 30 days, it's the rest of your life. You're either building habits that make you free or habits that keep you chained. And once those chains harden, breaking free gets harder with every year. But not you. Not now. You've lit the fire. You've chosen the trail. And every day you ride it, the man you're becoming grows clearer in your eyes. So hold steady, stand firm, walk tall. These 30 days will change you if you let them. And when you step through that last sunrise, you'll know the truth that freedom ain't given. It's built, one choice at a time. What if I told you that every 30-day stretch you conquer is a seed planted in the soil of your future? Because truth is, most folks walk through life scattering seed on hard rock, careless spending, restless thinking, habits that wither before they root. But when you choose discipline, you're planting in rich ground. And given enough time, those roots will hold through any storm. Now let's talk plain about money. Because whether men admit it or not, most of their days are spent worrying about dollars, earning them, spending them, losing sleep over them. And yet, what Buffett life proves is that money follows principles, not chance. He didn't get rich hoping for jackpots, he got rich letting patience do the heavy lifting. 30 days of discipline with your habits is the same principle as value investing. You don't rush to the hottest trend, you don't gamble on noise, you lay down steady deposits of time, of effort, of focus into something that grows slow but sure. And over the years, those deposits turn into a fortune. So here your test for the next 30 days. Don't just listen to the rain and let the words drift past. Apply them, live them, make them your standard. Set aside 1 hour each day, not for distraction, not for idle chatter, but for building yourself. That might mean reading a chapter of a book worth reading. That might mean reading down your goals till your hand cramps. That might mean reviewing your finances with brutal honesty. Whatever it is, make that hour sacred. Guard it like treasure, because here's the hard fact. If you don't carve time for yourself, the world will carve it for you. And the world don't carve kindly. It'll take the best hours of your day, sell them cheap, and leave you too tired to chase your own trail. Buffett himself never chased 20 things at once. He chose a few plays he understood, bet big when the odds were right, and held steady through the storms. That's what 30 days of discipline looks like for you. You ain't trying to be a new man in every direction. You're choosing one trail and riding it straight till it takes you where you said you'd go. And I'll tell you something else. There are hidden power in 30 days that most men never find. It ain't just the progress you make, it's the respect you earn from yourself. And when you respect yourself, others can feel it. You walk into a room different, you shake hands different, you look opportunity in the eye without flinching. That's why I say this isn't theory, it's reality. Because when you live 30 days with purpose, the man you become at the end ain't just different in the mirror, he's different in the market, in relationships, in the way he handles setbacks. He don't fold, he don't beg, he don't drift, he builds. Now some of you might be wondering what happens after the 30 days. That's the real secret, friend. The 30 days are just the start. They ain't the end of the trail, they're the fire that lights the rest of the ride. Once you've proven to yourself you can hold steady for 30 days, you'll know you can hold steady for 90, for a year, for a lifetime. And that's where the real compounding kicks in. Look at it this way. 30 days of reading one chapter a night might feel small, but stretch it to a year and you've read a dozen books that could change your destiny. 30 days of setting aside $5 a day might feel like dust, but stretch it to a decade. Invest it wisely and it grows into something powerful. That's the law of compounding, whether in wealth or in willpower. And once it's on your side, time becomes your ally instead of your enemy. But here's the danger, and don't you ignore this. The same compounding works against you if you drift. 30 days of excuses stack just as fast as 30 days of discipline. Miss one day, then another, and before long, you've built a habit of quitting. And that habit compounds too, till it strangles every ounce of ambition you ever had. So which one it gonna be? Because the choice is yours every morning. Chains or freedom, excuses or ownership, drift or discipline. Don't tell me you'll decide someday. Someday is the excuse of men who never rise. You've got to choose today, and then choose again tomorrow, and the day after that, till the habit of strength outweighs the habit of weakness. And when you've done that, when 30 days have rolled past and you stand taller than you've ever stood, you'll understand why Buffett said the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. Because now you'll have forged chains of iron in your favor, chains that pull you forward instead of hold you back. So listen close. What if I told you that in just 30 days, you could become unrecognizable to your current self? Not in theory, but in reality. All it takes is the courage to start, the grit to continue, and the faith to finish. That's the trail, friend. It's rough, it's lonely, but it leads to freedom. And if you've got the fire to walk it, you'll never see yourself the same again.